Senator Tester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ranking Member Brown, I want to thank you for being here today. Director Mulvaney, appreciate you appearing in front of the Banking Committee. You had previously referenced that you have the authority to ask the Fed for some dollars, which you do.
Yeah.
How much do you intend on asking the Fed when it comes up in October?
We haven't done that analysis, Senator. I will tell you, because we just got into a new quarter. I asked for $98.5 million at the end of March, and that will be sufficient to run the Bureau for the next fiscal quarter.
Okay. How does that compare with the previous director?
That is the same amount he asked for in 2015. It's less than he asked for the last couple of years. The difference is primarily we have some cost savings related to the hiring freeze, but we're also spending down what was started off as a $170 million reserve fund that I didn't think we needed.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Vaney, you come to this position with a record of being a deficit hawk. And I think that's true.
Try.
Yeah. But I will tell you that it is somewhat troubling that, and this goes on with the ranking member's questions, that your chief of staff is getting paid $47,000 more per year, more than members of Congress, most federal judges, the vice president, and cabinet secretaries, more than you. You've got political designees that are making right at or right next to $240,000. That doesn't jive with being a fiscal conservative. Can you explain to me why you had to pay these salaries to get the political appointees?
Sure. That's the system that y'all set up in the statute.
I know, but you have the flexibility to pay whatever you want.
My average compensation is $195,000.
I know, but your political appointees are making a lot more than that.
Yeah, but again, I do have the authority statutory to bring in political appointees, and I'm also with the senior people that I hired, and most of the folks that you referenced are the senior team. The practice of the previous administrator or director was to pay those folks as much as he possibly could, and he did. I did not want to set up a situation, Senator, where the
so what you're saying is you're giving more flexibility for your chief of staff to pay him nearly $260,000 when Cordray's chief received $212,234?
But the folks who are actually working with their senior partners are making the exact same thing that they are. So
that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about your political appointees, because it looks like favoritism.
No, I'm saying my political appointees, I mentioned, I don't know if you're or not, that the system at OMB marries a political person with a career person.
Yep.
And at the CFPB, I thought it was important that those folks make exactly the same, and they do. That's how we said. That's how we arrived at those numbers.
Well, it is. It's. I will just tell you, from my perspective, and I think that the debt is important to address. I think it smacks of
Senator,
impropriety.
I would welcome bipartisan review of our compensation structure over at the Bureau. I can't tell you the number of folks who I know on the Hill, number of folks who I know in the White House who are begging for jobs at the Bureau because of how much money we pay. I don't think it's necessary to pay that. We pay it because that's what the statute says.
Well, all I know is when I look at the numbers, and you can talk about how you're paying and how you're not, but when Cordray was in there, he paid his chief of staff $212,000. You stepped in being a fiscal conservative budget hawk, and you're paying him $260,000.
And my overall budget will still be $16 million less.
I know your overall budget will be that, but the truth is that I think it's good to be conservative. You need to be consistent. You can't be conservative when convenient. That's all. I want to talk about the budget process. We had Secretary Perdue in front of Appropriations Committee yesterday. I talked to Secretary Perdue about cutting crop insurance subsidies significantly. I think by almost half, by the way, which is going to price a bunch of folks out of the business in the crop insurance thing. I think Perdue gets it. I think the problem may be at OMB. And I'm going to tell you, as a farmer, you reduce those safety net programs and food security becomes a problem because farmers won't buy that insurance. They will go broke. And I guarantee you unequivocally, if we're dependent on multinational corporations to feed this country, we've got a national security issue. Can you tell me the thought process that went into reducing crop insurance subsidies?
Senator, I'm having to take off my Bureau hat now, put my OMB hat on. And I'll be perfectly candid with you. I'm not as well prepared on that as I was when I met before you in the Budget Committee, but I seem to recall we had this similar conversation.
No, I'm not on a Budget Committee.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Nope.
And I got asked the question, and the point of the matter was that we tried to tailor our benefits to farms that had below $250,000 of adjusted gross income, to speak to the exact group that you've just talked about, to encourage family farming and small farming.
That's not what the president's budget proposal does. And
with-
I'm going to tell you,
with respect, I think it did.
Purdue understands agriculture. I hope you have people in your agency that understand family farm agriculture. Otherwise, I am telling you, we will see a mass exodus off the land. It will hurt our security in this country. It is critically important. Last thing, and then I'll give up the mic. When I go around and talk to folks in Montana, agriculture is the #1 industry. They say one thing to me, first thing out of their mouth, when we talk about reauthorizing the farm program: don't screw up crop insurance. It's our safety net. It will put us out of business. And I'm talking about the little guys are telling me that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.